All right, recap for the mono blue, the first mono blue Merfolk League that I've recorded for this channel. Unfortunately, it didn't go as well as I was hoped. I was hoping that the first one would turn out pretty well. Um, I think unfortunately this was the worst showing that I've had in this build, in this specific build so far. Um, I remember I did have a 3-2 league where the first two matches kind of felt like the matches 4 and 5. Yeah, matches 4 and 5. The prowess and the rock matchups. With like things just weren't going my way. Of course, there was some pretty big misplays in both the Rakdos and in the rock matchups. Yeah, I think we can kind of see in a way like how much more challenging Merfolk is to play than your typical mono red deck. I do think that the prowess deck that I play does actually have quite a bit more lines than your average red deck. But I don't know if this is just a bias or just me, um, maybe just me making excuses. But hopefully not. But at the end of the day, I made some pretty big misplays, and that also demonstrated how Merfolk needs to be played very, very carefully. Kind of like Burn in a way. Like there isn't a lot of margin for error, and if you screw up, you get very, very punished. The trade-off though is that kind of like Jund in a way, kind of like mono blue Jund. The deck has game against basically just about anything. Um, particularly because it has access to counter spells. So I do like Merfolk. I don't quite think it's really as well positioned as the prowess deck I'm playing right now. But it is nice to mix it up once in a while. There have definitely been many metagames where I felt Merfolk was better positioned than the best red deck I could be playing. The best red aggro-ish deck. I've never been particularly interested in the prison styles, but you know, uh, unfortunately this one didn't go too well. But I actually think each one of those games though, it does show that we had a possibility to win. The Death Shadow deck is not on my mind as freshly because I just recorded the replays for games for matches 4, 5, and 1 in that order. So those are more fresh on my mind. Uh, the Death Shadow matchup. It's possible there might have been something I could have done, but it's also possible that just their draws just lined up well. Um, I actually kind of like that matchup, and I think I think I think if I remember correctly, they had answers to Chalice when they needed it. Otherwise, it is actually very good in the matchup because they rely on Death Shadow, and that can't come on typically until turn 3 or later. So Chalice almost always is going to be live at any point in the game, and is almost always going to have an opportunity to come down before their main threat comes down. Particularly the Traverse the Ulvenwald versions, because those also get shut off by Chalice. But it is what it is, and definitely the Rakdos and the Rock decks. If I didn't make those misplays of not holding a land for to discard to Crox's Escape, and not playing a creature on I think the second turn, so that I could have enough creatures to overwhelm Liliana, I at least would have had a chance. At least I would have had at least I could have possibly won those games, forced a game 3, and I have won quite a few games with Merfolk by by forcing like a game 3 and then playing my best and winning the game 3, but didn't happen this time. Honestly, I have been having a little bit of my doubts about this version because other than that 5-0, other than that recent 5-0, I think like the league maybe right before it, but there was like another league um, where I went 3-2, and again like the first 2 ones didn't really feel that very good. I did press on, and I did end up getting 3 more wins, so I felt like maybe just bad luck. Also maybe some misplays that could have made a difference. Back then. So I keep pressing on, but now I got a 2-3, and I mean it's possible the meta might have also been a little different back when I got that 5-0. I think the prowess decks were also more susceptible to Chalice back then. They weren't quite playing as many 2-drops, and the Rakdos version in particular I don't think was quite as popular as it is right now, which is which is definitely the best at dealing with Chalice. That being said, I'm not so sure that it's correct to ditch Chalice because I'm not really so sure how we're supposed to beat a lot of these prowess decks without it. Even if they are better suited to deal with Chalice, um, I'm not so sure what the alternative is, frankly. And I still do think we probably are favored. Um, and like Chalice is almost always good too if you can draw exactly one copy exactly by turn 2 with enough mana to cast it. Um, it's only bad when you have multiples in matchups where they're not good, or when you draw it late in matchups where it's not good, and they already played when they played a few 1-drops. Because the thing is, almost every deck, including Jund, Rock, even the decks where Chalice isn't particularly good against, basically every single deck plays at least some 1-drops. The only decks where it's almost basically dead are like humans and opposing Merfolk decks a lot of times because some tribal decks that play Aether Vial, like sometimes Aether Vial is the only 1-drop they have, or they have Cavern of Souls, so they can play 1-drops or play their 1-drops around Chalice that way. There hasn't been a ton of humans, so like there aren't a lot of matchups where Chalice is just strictly dead. Even in the matchups where it's not really that great, it's they still play 1-drops, so it still does some work. So I'm not sure the answer is to cut Chalices. I do think I am going to be interested in making a few changes. I am interested to know what changes, what changes people suggest. I could try a splash. I kind of found that Lurrus build interesting. Back when Lurrus didn't have the companion nerf, I was actually planning to try Lurrus Merfolk. I never got around to it though because interestingly enough, unfortunately, I didn't really have an opportunity to 5-0 league back then with that list to record any matches, but I actually started discovering that, interestingly enough, there was a Urion back before the companion nerf. I actually was trying a 80-card Urion version of Merfolk. Unfortunately, after the companion nerf, I thought it still might be good enough, especially since Aether Vial on 5, potentially made up for the fact that you couldn't just put Urion directly in play. And I especially liked the way that when you played it Urion off of Aether Vial, you could blink your own Aether Vial, reset it, and then it wouldn't be stuck at a useless number for the rest of the game. So I actually thought maybe I was onto something, but unfortunately, what I found is that it was really, really hurting me that I did not have Aether Vial on turn 1 nearly as consistently. And it just felt so sluggish. And like my games much more often felt like those game 1s against Rock, against the Rock deck in match 5 of this league. Like Aether Vial is really quite important. And when I didn't always have the ability to put it directly in play for 5 mana, whether I had Aether Vial or not, it just felt like it wasn't worth giving up having access to Aether Vial more consistently. I'm kind of wondering if just for kind of like science's sake, maybe I'll give it another try. I did run it through a number of leagues. I don't think I ever like completely bombed like 0-5 or 0 or 1-4 anything with it. I might have one league. I'm not sure. But I remember it like not being especially terrible. But I remember feeling like definitely I've had more success in the past with other versions. So I went back to the Chalice version, figuring hey, prowess is getting more popular. A lot of Lurrus decks lean a lot on Bauble, so if I shut off Bauble on Chalice on 0, that's good too. Even after the companion nerf, if Lurrus is still a big thing, Chalice helps, and I can't say that's necessarily been incorrect, but I will be looking to make some changes, and you're probably going to see them by the next video. Yeah, input is definitely suggested. I might start the next league, relatively soon though, so I won't necessarily have time to implement any type of ideas anybody has. But yeah, I will say I do think I'm interested in. I do think I'm probably going to be playing mono blue again, and I have played Simic in the past. I have played blue white in the past. I haven't ever played them particularly for a long time, but honestly, the main reason I like blue is I like the utility lands that you can play in mono blue better than just basically the waterlogged groves you can play in the Simic version. And the biggest problem with blue white is blue white just doesn't really have access to good utility lands, and I just get mana flooded enough that I really feel like having more than just Mutavault is really necessary. And I'm actually strongly considering going back to Fairy Conclave. Like, it would have helped out a lot in that rock matchup. It does make turn 2 Chalice a little bit less likely, but Fairy Conclave has been very good to me in the past, and I'm wondering if it might still be good now. Anyway, this match didn't exactly go as I hoped, but I do think that there is a lot of potential for Merfolk. Obviously, it's getting good results. I think with some tweaks, I think the deck is still viable and probably strong. Definitely can be strong. So, hopefully next time goes better. I did also record a prowess match, a prowess league. That went quite well. I definitely have been playing the prowess deck more, so I also think I'm just more in tune with that deck at the moment. I think I make less misplays, and it's just coming more naturally to me at the moment. Again, one of the issues with playing Merfolk, as opposed to the red deck, is just that it's harder to get as many games in. So that's one of the main reasons I haven't been playing it as much. But I do really like it, and definitely if I find a version where I start having, the same type of win percentage that I'm having with this this Obosh prowess deck, then probably I'm going to be I'm going to be playing more leagues with this deck. But we'll see how I mix it up between the two decks, and definitely anybody's input is appreciated, and definitely thank you for watching. Oh yeah, and like all the YouTubers say, I guess, definitely subscribe, click the notification bell. I do plan to hopefully be uploading at least one league a week, maybe more. I usually am very, very, I usually want to get games of Magic in a lot of times if I can. Obviously, I love this game a lot. Um, sometimes it's harder to get in games than it is other times, depending on what else is going on in my life. But lately I've been able to play. I mean, in the grand scheme, this year, obviously, with everything going on, I've been able to play, more than I have in the past. But but yeah, my goal is to upload at least one league of either Merfolk or Prowess, or whatever type of red variant I'm on. Most likely it's going to stay Prowess per week. Maybe more. I mean, this week I finished up my Merfolk league and I've done a Prowess league, and I might do more, but we'll see. Because I may have something else going on tomorrow, depending on what I decide to do. We will see. Yeah. Hopefully, next league we get another trophy for the fish.